Here at Thing3 Racing, driver comfort is of course of paramount importance to us. So we have a couple of things that I want to show you as far as positioning you in the car and how you're going to be able to see over the dashboard, okay? Because in this car, the seat is set all the way back against the roll cage and as far down as we can get it so that certain tall members of the team can fit into this car. Should you not happen to be one of those people, we have a couple of options for you. First, we always have two pieces of foam, which usually reside in the trunk. One is thick, one is thin. This you can place, be placed underneath your butt to raise you up a little bit so you can see better over the hood. You could also place one of these behind your back if it helps move you forward a little bit. We also have a couple of other options. We can move the seat forward. I'll move these foams out of the way and show you down here. We have essentially a pin here that can be removed. The seat can then move forward, and there's holes. These holes slide forward, and then it can be repinned in the forward position. The way that slides forward is just by using the stock release here. So with the pin removed, that lever is pulled up, and then you can grab the seat and force it forward, and then place the lock back down. Back here, the pin goes in. Oftentimes, what I find is that when we get the seat locked in up there on the rail, we have to the driver who's helping the other get in has to push up on the seat or pull back a little bit to get this located properly. But this should be pressed all the way down just like that. And hopefully that tells you everything you needed to know about driver placement. Now you might think that driving around at a high rate of speed in an open cockpit car, you wouldn't need there'd be no need for a cool suit or anything of that nature. But you could not be more wrong. It gets hot in here. And a lot of the heat just comes up from the floor, coming off the exhaust system. And you're just you're still in a bit of a cabin in here. And trust me, on a hot day, it gets hot in here. A cool suit is a great idea. Fortunately, we've got the car already plumbed for it. So I'll give you a quick penny tour on how that works. So if you're going to be wearing a cool suit, you're going to want to make sure you've already spoken with Justin to make sure you get the proper suits, because you're going to want to make sure your suit will interface with the plumbing that's in the car, okay? So down here you have your cool suit switch. That turns the pump on and off, okay? The pump assembly and everything will be right here. Will be right next to you, but you won't need to worry about that. The crew will take care of that. Okay, all you need to be aware of really is the hookup, which is right here. So it's driver's left, just where driver's elbow is going to be. Okay, and there are releases here for you to release. Driver helping the driver who's exiting. That's probably going to be good for you to release this for that driver. In an emergency, it turns out these have a quick release here. I mean, they will pull free. So if they're not going to hold you in the car. If you're in a hurry to get out, these aren't going to keep you from getting out. They will just pop right out. Incidentally, if you are in a hurry to get out, you'll find even my gorilla butt can get out of this car with the steering wheel on. So I'm confident you can too. The only thing I try to remember is release the belts, and then I have on my helmet, I have the comms right here so that I can just reach back, grab it, and release. And it's good to practice this. How fast can you get out of the car? And you should be able to get out pretty darn fast if you have to. So make sure you take some time to get to the track early, coordinate it with us so you have a little bit of time to practice getting in and out of the car, and then an emergency exit. How fast can you get out of the car? Making sure your helmet has to clear the roll cage and so forth, getting in and out. It is a bit tight from this bar to this bar to get your body out of there for some of us bigger American guys, okay? So it's definitely a good idea to get some practice getting in and out of this thing. Okay, so to give you some familiarity with the inside of the car, I'll give you a quick walkthrough of the gauge cluster here. What you're going to notice is when you first turn on the key, that they are backlit, and they're organized in rows. There's this is water, this row is oil. This row you can ignore, it's fuel related, we use for tuning and so forth. So what you're going to see is these warning lights. So for the water, the upper light is actually only pressure. When the engine is cold, pressure will not be up, and so that light will often be on or flickering as the engine temperature climbs. But once you get up around 160 degrees or so, that light will go out, and it should remain out the whole time that you're using the car. If the light does come on, then you've lost water pressure, which is serious, so you want to shut the car off and pull off to a safe location and radio in and let us know what's going on. Right below that is the water temperature gauge, and we like to have water temperature around 180 degrees. That's where it's going to perform at its best for you. So anything above or below that, it might be a little below when you first go out. Certainly if it gets above that, what we want to do is have you use the auxiliary fan switch down here, and that switch will help control that temperature quite a bit. If you're still having issues keeping those temps down, definitely call in and let us know. There may be some tape on the grill that we have that we could pull, or we may have some other things that you can do while you're out there to help bring the engine temperatures down. The next row is oil, and you have an oil pressure light. That light should be off at all times while the engine's running, of course. If you see that light come on, shut the engine off, pull off to a safe area on the track, or off track rather, and radio in immediately and let us know what's happening. This is oil pressure and then oil temperature. Difficult to see from this video, but you'll see that he has marked them yellow and red for the caution areas. They are clocked so that you should be able to glance at them, and if the needles are upright, you're okay. But if they're not, then we want to take a closer look at them. Of course, if you lose oil pressure significantly, then you're going to want to shut the engine off as well and pull off and notify us at that time. And here is oil temperature. So it's water pressure and temp, oil pressure, and temp. Okay, and then down below we have a few switches here. One is the on-off switch for the cool suit, which if you're using a cool suit, this would activate the pump. And this one for the auxiliary fan, probably the most important switch that you'll use to modulate engine temperature. This car has two fans on it. One is what I call the primary engine fan, which is controlled by a temperature sensor, which kicks on at 210 degrees, if I recall. But we want to try and keep those temperatures around the 180 to 190 degree range if we can. So we're going to use this switch accordingly. There's two other lamps here. One is an interior cabin lamp, which is just for interior illumination. You probably won't use that. It's very bright. You probably will not use that while driving. The second one is another switch you likely won't use. It's our backup headlamp switch, because our primary is actually going to be the factory stock. And the way that works is just like your regular parking lights, it's parking lights on, and on low beam pulled towards you will activate the headlamps. If you push forward, it will turn the headlamps off. If you pull back and release, it will flash them just like on a regular street car. We do have a clock timer up here which you can use. Very simply, there's a start and stop here to give you some reference while you're driving as to how long you've been out. Further to the right is what we call the power panel. The only switch or anything you'd use here would be this power switch here. You use this when you are exiting the race car in the pits, or when you are entering the race car. When you get in and get ready to leave, you're going to turn this switch on, because the exiting driver is supposed to turn off all power to the car before we can put fuel in the car. And that is the walk around of the instrument cluster on the car. So in talking about our communications system that we use, down here on the gauge cluster, we have a device that's used for controlling volume. So we have our volume control wheel inside there, and that's something you may set when you're in the pits before you roll out. We will do a radio check. Anna will help you with that, and you can control your the volume with of your headset from here. Okay. Next is the key for the mic, and that's right on the stock here. And so it's simply you simply reach up and push that in to key the microphone. The only other thing you need to know about the comm system is the hookup for it, and that's the cable right here. So this will plug into the quarter-inch male that's on your helmet. This cord will dangle here for you, suspended, so you can get to the point where you don't even have to look for it. When you're buckling up, you can simply do just a reach around to grab, and there it will be. I recommend putting this on last and taking it off first, and the reason for that is because the belt also has a retention bungee, and it's a little more comfortable to put this on behind the band that extends down here. So if you put this cable on after you're belted, then it will be behind the band instead of wrapping around in front of it, which can be a bit of a distraction, at least for me it seems to be. So you just want to remember to release that on your way out of the car, and just set it aside here. It will hang for the next driver who's coming in. Our fire suppression system has a pull handle, which is next to the driver, but it's to the right of the tunnel, just next to the shifter, as you can see. This pin will be pulled, which makes the suppression system armed. At that point, if you feel the need to pull this, it has about a 5-pound, what I call a 5-pound pull. So it's about 5 pounds of resistance to pull and release and trigger the fire suppression system. Once you've pulled it, there's no going back. It is a CO2 cartridge, and it will go ahead and empty the entire bottle. And the nozzle here is the one that will hose you down your torso and so forth, and hopefully give you some time to get out of the car, and hopefully protect the car as well. There are nozzles in other areas of the car as well. There are several mirrors in the car. Both doors have their own mirrors, and we also have a wink mirror up above, which is adjustable, and it's relatively stationary. So if you do need to move it, you can usually just grab a hold of it, turn it a little bit, and it should stay put. There is an adjustment wheel here to help tighten that down for you, which you can use. And then on the driver's side, we have a fender mirror, which helps to cover our blind spot on this side. And then we've got a regular door mirror as well. The door mirror can be a bit difficult to see sometimes because the window net is here as well. And then we have venting. We've got a vent here on the driver's side wing with an adjustable vent louver. The one on the passenger side is typically hooked to a large hose, which runs over the transmission tunnel and helps to cool your feet and so forth. And then as far as getting out of the car, if you need to help yourself get out of the car for some reason, you'll notice there's a cable down here that's painted yellow. This is the door release cable to open the door. All you have to do is reach through and push on it. When you push on it, it will hinge back here and release the door lever, door latch rather. Okay, that works very well. And you'll also have your net up here. The net is retained through a loop in the back, which is what the pole slides through. Okay, and then it's finally latched into position up here with basically a seat belt latch is what it looks like. If I turn it around, you can see there's the button for it, and so it's just a matter of pressing that in and pulling down, and then it will release. The button doesn't face you; it faces the outside. Whoever releases this net, be sure and remember to place the net on the outside of the car, rolling it down the bar like this. And the reason being for that, it just makes it so much easier. For the next driver getting in, he's not going to sit on the thing. Justin and I had done a quick video on what it looks like driver exchange, getting in and out of the car. So we're going to cut to that video now, show that to you, and then bring you back. Okay, now good.
Rolling.
Good.
Pit stop. Everything flies out. Driver jumps out. Next driver jumps in, ever so gracefully. As you can see, all the belts have flung out of the way. Reach for the cam lock piece first. Go for the tip point and the crotch. Go to the left side, connect that in.
Make sure you roll this clockwise when you get in, because it tends to remain in the release position.
Yeah, so just click that forward.
As long as the last guy loosened them up a little bit, you should be good to go.
Which I did not.
It's always hard to remember. There we go.
And you're done.
We're back! Okay, so I know that was amazing, wasn't it? That just gives you a quick idea of what it's going to look like. I'm going to give you more of the particulars and the details now of what to expect during a pit stop. So the car comes into the pits, okay, and you're the guy that's going to be getting in. Now, if you're the driver getting in, there's going to be another driver behind you who's already suited up, and he's going to be helping you get into the car. Okay, so the guy that's getting out of the car, he's just going to exit and go over the wall, and he's not going to be involved in that part. So you're the driver that's getting ready to get into the car, and if you're going to use one of the foams, you're going to have that with you. Okay, so car comes in and rolls to a stop, right? You come up, you can place your foam up here, open the door, go ahead and take the net down, and then reach over and look for the cool suit hookups and do those disconnects. So just kind of those three things: door, net, and the hookups for the suit. By the time you get that far, he's going to be about ready to come out of the car because he's got his belts loose, car's off, all that kind of stuff. So this driver is ready to get out of the car. So you're just going to stand back to the side here. He's going to get out, and if you're the driver that's exiting the vehicle, you want to go this way. You don't want to go this way because the fuel guy's right here, and you probably won't be able to see him for your helmet. So when you're getting out, just go that way, okay? And then if you're the guy getting into the car, throw your foam in there real quick, and you're going to go ahead and the car's up on stands right now, so it's a little high compared to what it will really be when you're there. All right, but there is a push bar that's welded into the floor pan of the car, and that's there for you, helping you get in and out of the car. You put your heels on it, and it'll help you out. Okay, so what I do is I go ahead and throw my leg up in there. I put my heel on that push bar, and then it's like I'm doing a pull-up. I grab a hold of this roll bar up here with my right hand, and I grab the A-pillar with my left, okay? and it's a little easier to get my leg up when we're on the ground. Okay, so anyway, so then we're in there, and I just use this as the leverage to get me in and out of the car. When you go into the car, you want to set yourself up so that your butt lands about midway up on the seat, so you're not all the way back. And that's because there's a wing support on the side of the seat, and it'll jab you in the back on the way in. But there's also a hook right here for the window net, so you need to clear that on your way in. And you just got to lead with your torso in, and then your helmet goes in last. So it's something like this, okay? And then you can set back. And then you can start putting your belts on as we described in the video. All right? So as your belts are going on, once you get them all clipped in, this other driver is helping you get those clipped in, okay? And he's helping you tighten the belts down as well. The lap belt, it's much easier for the guy on the outside to help you with this. The slack side of that lap belt just wants to lay outside between the two roll bars going outside. So that the guy that's out there, just grab that and pull down, and that will cinch up that lap belt. So your belts are on. Reach around, you can do this blind. Grab your comms cable, plug it in wherever your hookup is. Mine, I have it riveted right to my helmet. Somewhere around this time, you're going to be, you're going to hear, you're going to go through your mic check with Anna, and you can make your adjustment to your headset volume down here. And remember to adjust it a little bit louder than what you want to. Because when you get out there, the car is so loud that it's going to drown a lot of it out. So you're going to need it a little bit hot from what you would normally want it to be, okay? And then you can go ahead and slide the collar back on the steering wheel, set that on, and adjust your mirror, adjust your wing. You can start checking your mirrors. Because by this point, the driver that's helping out, he's already put the window net up and shut the door on you. Okay, what you're listening for at this point is clear. That's the fuel guy. He's going to be yelling clear. And at that point, he's going to pull back, the hood's going to be up in the air, and somebody's going to be checking fluids and whatnot, air pressures. This all might be happening while you're hooking up. A lot of times the driver just gets done as all of that gets done. Okay? So what you want to be cognizant of is once the hood goes down, you're in a position where it looks like you're just about done. You've done your radio checks and everything's working properly. The cool suit is hooked up. You know, you're just about done. What you don't want to be is caught out where we're ready to release you and the car isn't running. You haven't started the car. Go ahead and start the car and get ready to roll. You're going to get a signal from one of us to go. And you want to be in first gear, car running, ready to roll, so you can get out quickly. Again, when you roll out, it's second gear, 2,000 RPM is as fast as you can. You'll stop at the end of pit road to drop off your clock. They will likely ask you if you have received fuel, and of course, if we did fuel the car, you will say yes, and then they will flag you on. The biggest part of this responsibility is the guy who's bringing the car into the pits. And I counted them. There are 11 steps for you to remember. Okay, as you bring this car into the pits and go through this whole procedure, okay? So I'm just going to go through that with you. First off, you're nearing the end of your stint, and as you close down on that, Anna will call you on your comms and say, pit in 2. And what she's saying is, you're going to pit in 2 laps. When she does that, I often go ahead and respond, copy pit 2. Make another lap. You cross the start-finish line, cross the pits, whatever, and she will say, come back on and say, pit this lap. And I'll respond to that, copy pit. Come back around. As I hit pit road, I'll call in again and tell her that I'm on pit road. Just as I make that, as I'm coming up to get my clock, because you will have to stop there at the entrance to pit road to pick up your clock, I'll start loosening the belts. So that's shoulder belts, you're going to get those good and loose, and then your lap belt just the left side, and all you have to do is you'll reach down to the bottom of the clasp and pull up on it, and then rock your hips to the right. And as you roll up to the right like that, that will loosen that belt as well. You'll receive your clock. You'll proceed down pit road at 2,000 RPM, second gear. And we will be waving you down so you'll see where we're at to pull into the pits. As you pit the car, remember that at that moment you need to make sure the car is spaced out well enough from the guardrail, whether it's the right or the left side, that the door can be opened completely and there's enough room yet for a crew member to pass behind that door. Just as you're coming to a stop, the fuel guy is going to be coming over the wall. You're going to hear him say, "Car off." So what he's asking you to do is shut the car off. That's what he's saying. So you kill the ignition at that point. And then at that point, for me, I just make it a fluid movement. My next move is to release the belts and hit the kill switch that's on the power panel, the red toggle switch. Release the belts, reach over, turn the switch off. Somewhere around that time, you're going to hear the fuel guy shout, "Visors down." So he's going to shout that just as he's getting to the fuel cap. And at that point, your visor needs to be down. So you shut the car off, you killed the power, you've got the belts loose, visors down. Go ahead and release your comms cable at that time. And then you can reach up and release the steering wheel and hang it. By the time you've gotten through all of that, the assisting driver who's getting ready to enter the car has already taken the net down. He's already released your cool suit. Okay, the door is open, so he's ready for you to get out at that point. Okay, so out the same as in. I bring my knees up onto the push bar. Like a pull up, I'll grab a hold of this bar and then the A-pillar, and I'll just explode up out of there like that. And again, as I get out of the car, I'm just going to go this way. If I have the presence of mind to think of it, I'll go ahead and reach around and grab my cushion and take it with me. If I forget that, and you're the driver going in, and you need to make a change on that, just go ahead and grab it, and you can pitch it up over the wall if you want to, or hand it to someone, because we want to make sure that you get in the car as soon as possible. And then, again, once you're in the car, assisting driver, you're going to be there to help him with his belts, make sure his comms gets hooked up, help him with the suit, the cool suit. Then once he's plugged in there and everything looks to be fine, you're going to go ahead and set the net, and that goes into the loop like I showed you. The belt goes on the outside, snaps in, and shut the door. And he's all set.